Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Just United. This is it. This is the big one. The Europa League Quarter-final against Lyon, away from home, on Thursday night at 8 p.m. So make sure you're watching and you're all tuned in, supporting the team. I'm joined by our very own Devil's Advocate, M-Flows.
Yes, people. You already know it's M-Flows. It's a big game for you guys. I think you guys have played Lyon 5 times in the past, beat them 3 times, drawn against them twice. And I think the last time you guys played them, Cristiano Ronaldo was actually playing for yourselves when Ronaldo was in his, nearing his peak. And obviously that strike force was brutal, you know. Tevez, that whole Rooney, Berbatov, and well, it's a far cry from your current strike force, isn't it? Because that's maybe where we should start off and discuss, shouldn't we, Gov?
100%. Our attack is such a huge problem at the moment. And do you know what? Out of all of them, the only player that's been performing is Bruno. And he's such an important force for our team. He brings goals, he brings assists, and he needs to be on his A game. So if one of our attacking players does get a chance, you know, they can put it away. Because like you said, our attack has been abysmal this season. None of them are carrying their own weight in this team. And the only person that has been is Bruno.
Bruno is the most involved player for goals for United in the Europa League. So that just says it all, really. If he has a poor game, I really do think that United are going to have a really shit game as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, you know, out of all people, I think Bruno likes to put that pressure on himself as well. Sometimes, you know, you need to do that. You need to tell players to move into position. You need to have a goal. All great United captains do that. And you know what? People have got their own opinion on them, on the captains of the past. And, you know, Bruno now is the captain. And they'll say, oh, he's not captain material. But who else is doing what he's doing on the pitch for United? No one. And I just think from United's point of view, yes, he does need to have a good game. And if he has a good game, then he'll be able to make it easier for a lot of the other players on the pitch as well.
I agree. I think that without Bruno, your whole season you guys would be in a relegation battle, you know what I mean? And I think obviously it's a good point that, you know, we kind of touched on the teams of the past and the teams now. Like, I think, you know what, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time you guys won, there was a whole heap of players.
Last won it with Jose Mourinho in 2017. And as you can see on screen there, the players, Rooney, Zlatan, Luke Shaw, Juan Mata, Antonio Valencia, Herrera, David De Gea. We had Carrick. We had leaders in that team. That's the cycles we've been through as a team. Europa League final under Oli. And yes, you know, that kind of petered out towards the end. But for us now as a team, we need to write our own history this season. All these players need to step up. So that's why I want to get into my predicted 11 for this game now. Gone with something a little bit different. As you can see on screen right now, I've gone with Mazraoui, Harry Maguire and Yoro in a back three. Mazraoui right centre-back and Yoro left centre-back and Harry Maguire in the middle. I think that's our toughest defence. And, you know, in terms of trying to keep a clean sheet, we're away from home. I think that is our best defence. I've gone with Mason Mount as right wing back because we need something different. We need some legs in midfield. I've gone with Garte and Colby Mainu back in the team, hopefully coming back from injury. So I've gone with Mainu.
You think he's going to start?
I hope he does. I think, you know, if there's a game
that's
that you're going to...
risky move, man.
100%. And I think if there's a game that you're going to risk it for, it's got to be this game. Yes, he might not be able to play the full 90 minutes, but this is a game where you've got to, again, like I said, put all your eggs in one basket and try and get something out of the game. And he brings the legs, he brings, you know, some good passing, some good movement on the pitch. And then I've gone with Dorgu as left wing back, Bruno Fernandes on the right wing, Xerxes up top, and I've gone with Garnacho on the left wing. I've dropped Højlund because I think we need something off the bench. And, you know, when he's come off the bench in a couple of games this season, he's looked quite bright because he's fresh and, you know, he's allowed to go at these players that, players like Garnacho or Xerxes have tired out a little bit. And I think we're going to need the legs in midfield. And I think Xerxes can drop into a 10. And, the team could look something like this with a 4 at the back, Agate and Colby Mainu in midfield holding, Bruno in the 10, Mason Mount on the right wing, Xerxes up top, and Garnacho on the left wing. And Bruno and Xerxes could, switch and play that 10 role themselves, giving Bruno a bit more freedom to go forward. So, that's what the team could look like. And I'm hoping, he does make some changes for this game because he's going to get something out of this game if he wants to go back to Old Trafford with a chance of winning.
Yeah, I agree. And it's interesting now because I think you're ready to kind of talk on Lyon's tactics and how they're going to line up. And they've got some ex-Prem players and some of them are very much on form. One of them being, Alexander Lacazette at the top. I think he's going to have a big say in this game. Obviously playing for Arsenal, coming back now. You've also got like Maitland Niles, etc. as well in Lyon's squad. He's going to know how United play, even though you guys haven't been the best in form across the season, still United's a big prestigious club. And obviously going back like Lacazette, I think he's got 11 goals in Ligue 1, and I think he's got 3 goals in Europa League as well. You've got Matic, who you touched on. You've got
Cherky.
Cherky, yeah.
Obviously, he's got 8 assists in the Europa League. He's got 2 goals.
Yeah,
so, it's going to be a big game.
And you've got Tolisso as well on the opposite wing as well.
And then we got Tagliafico's left back as well. World Cup winner. It's going to be risky, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
they've got a bit of sauce, man.
It's a big game, and you want to be coming up against the best players as well, because then if you can beat them, you get more confidence and you can go further into the competition. And like you mentioned, they're all contributing goals, and it's something we're lacking at the moment. There's going to be some big battles on that pitch.
Muama, like he's injured, so you guys are very lucky on that sense. I do think that they are going to cause you some massive problems down the wings. Yeah,
100%. And, Mazraoui's going to have to be on his game. Yoro's going to have to be on his game. Anybody in those defensive positions, obviously, I've given you my predicted 11. Anybody in those positions where these players are going to be coming at them, going to have to be on their A game, because they don't tend to play down the middle. And I think that's where the battle could be won, which is why I've picked so many midfielders to play in my team, because that's where they could potentially,
hurt yourselves.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we can get the best of them.
Having said that, yeah, if you had to pick 3 key battles for this game between Lyon's players and your players, United players, who do you think those 3 key battles are going to be?
It's definitely going to be their front 3, like, without a shadow of a doubt. Like I said, Cherky's going to be trying to get on the ball, again, continuing to make assists. Lacazette, we know of him. We know what he can do. He looks a bit more at home back at Lyon. Obviously, having played for them before as well. Tolisso, you've touched on him. There's a lot of threats in that team, and it could come from anywhere. Whereas, we had to talk about the United team. We don't know where the threat's coming from. Do you know what I mean? So it's gonna be an interesting game, and I'm hoping United can get a result. But we're going to get into our predictions now for this game. Let me know what you think the score is going to be.
It's a good question.
Considering, United have got this far in the competition. We've actually won quite a few games in the Europa League as well.
It's a good question, yeah. And I'm just before I give you my prediction, I want to give you a good question, yeah. Do you think that this game is going to be like a make or break for Ruben Amorim's tenure? Like,
it's tough. It's tough because with the ownership, you never know what they're going to do in terms of if they're going to stick with the manager, have they got somebody else in mind? But I'd like to think, if you've brought a manager in halfway through the season with no preseason, he hasn't got any of his signings in at the moment. Any Bardogu, I would say, is his kind of signing. I'd like to think that they probably wouldn't sack him, because it's he hasn't had any time with the players really, and I don't think it's make or break for him. It's make or break for our season, but I don't think it's make or break for Amrim as manager.
Okay. And now, you know what, I'm going to answer your question, yeah, because that's given me a little bit of time to, buy the little prediction and that, you know what I'm saying? But look, I think it's going to be a tight game. I can't see United going up there to, really cause a big upset or anything. I just can't see where the goals are coming from. Like, if Bruno has a crap game, you guys are done for. And I think with Lyon's atmosphere, and you know what? Yeah, I actually went to their stadium a couple of seasons ago. Yeah, a couple of seasons ago, I went to their game against Marseille, and it is rocking.
Game, though,
yeah, it was rocking. And I can imagine it's going to be the same now. So, having said that, with their firepower as well, I think it may be a 1-0, 2-0. I just can't see where United are going to get the goals from. But what do you think? Like, what's your predictions for the game?
I'm going for a 2-1 win.
Bloody hell, you're optimistic.
No, because we haven't played terribly the last few games. There is starting to be some patterns of play, but it's just that final third. And I think the pace of the Premier League, the physicality of the Premier League should help us. And, in Europe, we have done well. We've been able to control games. We've been able to score goals. It hasn't been as difficult. And I think, if we can get the early goal, we can go 1-0 up, then we should be able to win the game and then go back to Old Trafford. Because what we really want to do is win this game and then go back to Old Trafford not having to do too much. It's a big ask. It's a big ask. But
I was just about to say that is a massive ask. I think more so Ruben Amorim's plan should just be not to concede. You know what I mean? If he can get back to Old Trafford and, get the home crowd behind yourselves, really, I think that should turn the tide. But it really is like a bit of a sticky one still, 100%. As Heady once says.
There's so much reliant upon this game. Funds from the Champions League, for transfers, everything. I'm 100% sure Ruben Amorim's going to be counting on himself for this game. And I hope he can adapt in game and he can make those changes if he needs to, because this is, it's like a Hail Mary at the end of a season to try and, win some trophies, a trophy in the Europa League. That was our predictions for the game. Let us know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And we'll catch you on the next one, guys. See you later.
Peace.